Russian troops continued to strike enemy facilities in Odessa. 7 police officers were eliminated as a result of a flight on the building of the investigative department at the main department of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. 2 civilians were killed as a result of air defense work. The work to reduce the enemy's fleet of flying equipment at various airfields has not stopped. Thus, at the airport near Aviatorsky, a VVSU fighter at the parking lot was struck by a missile with a cluster warhead. For the first time, a medium-range ballistic missile was used to strike the territory of Ukraine. The detached elements of the missile's warhead struck the production facilities of 𝐒𝐤𝐫𝐚𝐢, causing a detonation at the facility. In Sumy region, J-2 drones attacked the storage facilities of the Impulse plant in Shostka. The raid led to massive detonation of ammunition and explosives at the facility. Ukrainian forces for the first time used Western long-range weapons on Russia's old territories. Missiles from the ATACMS surface-to-air missile defense system attacked a military depot in Karachev, while in the Kursk region, Storm Shadow missiles fired from an airplane struck a command post of the Russian armed forces. At the same time, Ukrainian forces decided to hit food industry enterprises of the EFKO group of companies with drones. As a result of the attack on several enterprises in Belgorod and Voronezh regions, production equipment was damaged. In the Kursk direction, the Russian Defense Ministry officially announced the final clearing of the Olgovskaya Grove. As a result of the fighting, most of the encircled AFU units were destroyed. 24 people surrendered as prisoners of war. At Slobozhanska, attempts of attacks by Ukrainian forces in the Liptsy area were recorded. Meanwhile, positional fighting continued near Staritsa and in Vovchansk. In the Kupiansk direction, fighting continued in the industrial zone of Kupiansk, where the Russian armed forces are attacking AFU positions near the feed and sugar factories. In the area of Kolesnikovka, Russian troops reached the outskirts Hlushkovka with a simultaneous advance along the Oskol. In the Lyman direction, advanced groups of attack aircraft made their way to the center of Terny. To the north, soldiers of the 1st Tank Army planted a flag on the eastern outskirts of Kopanki, for which fighting continued. On the Siversk direction, the position battles near Bilohorivka and Verkhan-Okamyanska continued as usual. An enemy pontoon crossing was destroyed in the Kryva-Luka area by an airstrike. In the Artemivsk direction, Russian troops' attempts to dislodge the AFU on the western bank of the Siversky Donets-Donbass Canal continue unabated. Stormtroopers gradually advance along the woodlands near the dried-up canal, reclaiming areas lost in the summer of 2023. On the Oleksandrovsky-Kalinova direction, fighting continued in Dzerzhinsk. Russian troops advanced in the Zabalka micro-district in the south of the city and also hit AFU positions in the center of the settlement. In the Pokrovsk direction, Russian armed forces units expanded their zone of control at the Hyrivka-Novodivka line. To the south, Russian attack aircraft also advanced in the vicinity of Novoalexeyevka and Yurievka. The situation is developing most dynamically in the Kurakhove direction, where the AFU's operational crisis is getting worse. On the northern flank, units of the RF armed forces completely liberated Zaria and almost all of Santsovka. In addition, Russian troops occupied the fields between Ilyinka and Novoselidovka. They also made significant advances, taking control of most of Berestki. In the Kurakhove neighborhood, assault aircraft expanded their zone of control in the eastern part of the city, including near the Mariinska power distribution zone. There were also reports of fighting near the bus station located in the center near the bridge to Nova Ilyinka. To the south, Russian troops are advancing along the Dolha beam, where a Ukrainian armed forces stronghold has been established. And to the southeast of it, Ukrainian formations were knocked out of the vicinity of 𝐑𝐮𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐚. Russian troops also made significant gains in the Vremivka direction. From the direction of Shakharskoye, the attacking aircraft successfully established themselves on the outskirts of Razdolnoye, occupying several forest belts. To the south, Russian armed forces units have significantly advanced towards Velika Novosilka, almost reaching its outskirts. If the current pace of the offensive continues, we should expect fighting for the village in the near future. In the Zaporozhye direction, the sides exchanged blows and were preparing to resume active hostilities. At the same time, despite the reports of some media about the beginning of a large-scale offensive of the Russian armed forces, there is no evidence of this yet. In the Kherson direction, small arms battles continue in the island zone of the Dnipro Delta. At the same time, Russian troops worked on AFU positions and enemy power facilities, disrupting the power supply on the right bank of the river.